guys, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be getting back to our roots a little bit. So we've gone through 4 versions now of the Investor Bot, the main stock trading automated program that we've written together. And this one's probably the biggest upgrade I've written, and honestly probably the cleanest code I've written in a long time. So in today's video we're going to talk through this. I'm running it right now to test it. I'll post an update on that later, but today we're just going to kind of talk through the code, and then in the near future I'll post a video of how you would go about downloading and using this software on your own computer, where you can modify it to change stuff and all that. So without further ado, one of the biggest changes that we did in this version is, instead of using this requests and pulling our data from the web by opening a headless browser like we've done before and scraping our technical data on the stocks we want from the internet, we're switching to using Yahoo Finance and then pulling our prices from there and calculating our own technicals. So the reason we're doing this is because we had a lot of issues where after so many requests, the websites would kind of kick us out for a while, and that would crash our code. So now, using this Yahoo Finance and calculating our own technicals, it's a lot more reliable from what I've seen so far. And it's also just a little bit smarter because now we can calculate the technicals we want exactly instead of just using what's available online. So first thing, we obviously have our information here to connect with our Alpaca account. And then I've written this in a class with functions inside of it. And then at the very end here, we run our little instance of that class. So we have our initialization here. So we're connecting to the API as always. This is a list. I just put this in today because while I was testing it, I didn't want to use this user in function that I had made, where you type in the stocks you want to watch with a space separating them. So I've just kind of chunked that out for now and put these in here. I'll put that back the way it was for you guys to download and use, so you can put in the stocks that you want it to trade on. But we'll go ahead and jump down to, there are also some functions in here that aren't being used currently. For example, this Bollinger Band function is not being used right now because what I eventually want to do is make this to the point where you can run the code, put in the strategy you want to trade. If you want to look at Bollinger Bands, RSI, any of those, like any different strategy, looking at technicals, you can put in that strategy, put in the time frames, all that stuff, and then it'll update everything and run that for you. So that's just kind of the first step toward that, just adding more stuff like this. But we'll go down here. So the first thing we're doing when we run it, it's going to this while true loop. So it's going to keep running until you stop it. I've been starting it right before the market opens in the morning, and then just stopping it when the market's done for the day. And then just continually doing that, and maybe putting in different stocks and stuff at the beginning of the day if I see some that I'm interested in. But this first function that we're calling here, this check current profit loss. So right here, we're just pulling our current positions from the Alpaca Trade API and then printing our position.symbol. So it'll say the symbol and then our profit loss. So if we go to here where it's running right now, these are everything that we own and the current profit losses on those. As you can see, I'm still in the early phases of kind of testing and tuning it. So there are quite a bit of disparity. I mean, like here we made a good trade for sure, but a lot of these are losses right now. But that's something we'll kind of fine tune as we go. So after we do that, it's going to print that out, and then it's going to start getting into this update function for every stock in the list. So this update function, all it's doing for us is making sure that our current stocks owned are known by the code, so we don't accidentally buy the same stock twice, and also that our account balance is updated in here, so we don't try to put in an order for more than we have after buying a different stock. So after it does that, it's going to go and hit this pulling the stock data, which is where we are using Yahoo Finance now, and this is really simple code right here. The only thing I would point out is we're doing this date time now and date time now minus time delta of 4 days to get a little bit of historical data, because if you just do date time now, like I originally had 2 days here, but what that ended up doing is if I run it on Monday morning when the market opens after a weekend, there's no data from the weekend, so it can't calculate the technicals based off of that. So I just added a couple more days here. I think Yahoo Finance allows you up to, I want to say 5 days for 1 minute intervals. So if you want to change this to even kind of finer tuned, but the 5 minutes been pretty good to me so far. So once we get that data, we immediately pass that to this calculate technicals function with the data from that stock that we just pulled. So when we go into that function, here we go. So all we're doing here is creating a 20 and a 50 day or a 50 period exponential moving average. And the way we're doing that is we're just adding a new item to the data set based off of the close column. And this here is putting in our exponential decay, and that comes from the NumPy library. And then we're just doing a span of 20 and a span of 50, and taking the mean of those is how we calculate our 20 and 50 day EMAs, or period, excuse me. Moving forward from there, so once we do that, we're updating that stock data. So we still have all those other things on it, and it just added a 20 and a 50 EMA column to those data sheets. Then we're going to pass that updated stock data and the name of the stocks, the ticker, to our function to check the EMA crossover, which is right here. So I actually commented these out for now. I'm trying it something a little different. So before, what we would always do is check if the current EMA 20 is above the current EMA 50, just like this. And we would check that the previous one was below. The reason I changed that is because I found some stocks that are in an uptrend, and we want to get in on that uptrend before it's too late. And the reason we were missing it out is because it was the previous 20 and 50 were already, like the 20 was already above the 50, and then as we kept going, it's never going to buy that stock until it crosses back over and then crosses again. So I wanted to get in on some of that. So all we're doing here is just checking the current 20 is above the 50, which generally means it's in an uptrend. This can also result in some kind of errant trades where we kind of hit it at the end of the uptrend and then lose out a little bit. But I think that's worth it just to get some more trades actually happening. So if that condition is satisfied, we don't already own the stock, and the 20 is above the 50, we're going to return true from this function. And then down here, it goes into this result. So if it's true, we're going to buy that stock. So this execute trade function takes in the side, buy or sell, and the name of the stock. So jumping up to execute trade here, we're doing trading on each stock with 1/5 of the account value, so we never completely drain the account. Could modify this to only trade on one stock and just trade full account value, pull out, and just kind of try to keep compounding that up. But for now, since we're doing multiple stocks, we're making sure that we're not zeroing out the account. So we're getting this is just us getting the closing price right here and taking our buying power for this specific trade. And then we're calculating our quantity by taking the buying power that we want to spend in this trade and the minute close of the stock that we're looking at. So I added this in because I wanted to see, I'm putting in these orders as a market order. So I wanted to see how much of a difference there was between the value that I wanted to put in for and the value that it actually gets put in for. And it's pretty consistent because this runs a little bit quicker than when we were doing the web scraping. There was some delay time between when we would look at the stock and when we would buy it. But the way we're doing this now is a little bit quicker, so it hasn't been too much of an issue with that. And then we're just submitting the order here with the ticker that we pass in, the quantity, which we've calculated, and the side, so buy or sell. We know that's going to be buy in this case, and then market and day. And then we print out a purchase once that's completed. Moving forward in here, if the result returns false, that means either the stock isn't in the uptrend that we want to see or that we already own it. And so we do have a little else if statement here. If we own the stock, we do this check for sell, which right here. So we're getting all these, we're getting the previous EMA 20, previous EMA 50, and the current ones by going into our table here, getting the 20 EMA column and getting the second to last and the last entry. So here we're doing if the previous 20 EMA was greater than or equal to previous 50 and the current is less than, that means that there's been a crossover in the negative direction. You see a self signal is present, EMA crossover to negative side, so we return true. If that's not present, then we return false, which means it's not going to execute this. So this result returns true or false. If it's true, then we execute trade on the sell side. We looked at that code a little earlier. And if it's false, then we just continue. We do a sleep for a little under 5 minutes. I decided to do it a little bit more frequently than we're pulling the data for, just so we wouldn't miss out on anything because of the time we started the code. And then it just keeps repeating this over and over again, making those trades, looking at the stocks every time that we've passed in. And yeah, it just keeps kind of cooking through. Gives you, I wrote in little notifications of when these orders are put in and stuff, so you can get some feedback from it. I should probably edit it to get rid of these notifications that we're pulling data, just because they're a little annoying. Kind of clutters things up a little bit, but it does let you know that it's working. So with that all said, I think that's all we're going to talk about today. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. This code is going to be up on my GitHub pretty soon, available to the public if you guys want to download it and try it out. I will be posting a tutorial for how to go about downloading it and making sure you have all the stuff installed that you need to run it. But yeah, with that all said, leave any questions if you have them in the comments. Check out the Discord for some more discussion on this kind of stuff, and I'll post some updates in there as well on how this has been doing in terms of trading. But yeah, so that's all I have for today. I hope everyone had a great day and enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.